Once upon a time, in a big, beautiful village, lived a girl named Noma. Noma was very kind, but she didn't have many things. Noma's parents had passed away a long time ago due to a fire incident in their big house. Since then, Noma has been living with her uncle. People in the village know Noma as the girl who usually wore old clothes and didn't have many of them. But one day, something amazing happened. Noma found a beautiful dress and some tasty fruits waiting for her at her doorstep. She had never seen such shiny clothes or sweet fruits before. "Wow," Noma said, touching the soft dress and looking at the juicy fruits. She wondered who could have left them. But not everyone was happy. Noma's uncle's daughter, another young girl in the village who was always a bit nosy, saw Noma with her new things and felt jealous. She walked up to Noma, her hands on her hips, and said, "Hey Noma, where did you get that pretty dress and those fruits from? Who gave them to you?" Noma, surprised by the question, just smiled a little smile. She didn't know who left the gifts, but she felt happy and a bit special. "I don't know," she told the jealous girl. "I just found them outside my house." The girl frowned, not liking the mystery. You must tell me if you find out, okay?" she said, trying to peek into the basket of fruits. "Okay," Noma nodded, still smiling. She was too happy with her new dress and fruits to worry much about the jealous girl's frowns. And so, with a skip in her step, Noma went on her way, wearing her new dress and sharing her fruits with her little friends, who smiled and said, "Thank you." Little did she know, this was just the beginning of a big, bright mystery. The next day, Noma, wearing her beautiful new dress, walked to the village center, where all the villagers met to talk and trade things. She felt happy and pretty, but not everyone was happy to see her so cheerful. As Noma walked by, one of the village elders, who always looked very serious, stopped talking and stared at her. He pointed a finger and said loudly, "Noma, where did you get such a fine dress? We know you don't have much money. Are you taking things that aren't yours?" Noma's cheeks turned red with surprise and embarrassment. "No, no," she said quickly, her voice small. "Someone left them at my door. I don't know who it was." Some of the villagers whispered to each other, looking at Noma with doubtful eyes. "She must be lying," one whispered. "How can someone just give her such nice things?" another said. The serious elder shook his head. "Noma, we need to know the truth. It's not good to take things without knowing where they come from. You must find out who gave these to you and tell us," he said firmly. Noma nodded, feeling sad and a bit scared. She didn't like the way everyone was looking at her. "I will try to find out," she promised, her voice just a whisper. As she walked away, the whispers followed her. Noma felt a heavy feeling in her heart. What started as a happy surprise now felt like a big problem. She wondered who could have given her these gifts and why it was causing so much trouble. But deep down, she hoped that solving this mystery would make things right again. After the trouble in the village center, Noma felt very sad. Her feet dragged as she walked, her head down. Then she heard a friendly voice call her name, "Noma." Looking up, she saw Ikenna, one of the kindest villagers, standing just behind the tree. Ikenna was known for his big smile and even bigger heart. He waved her over. "Come here, Noma. Don't mind the harsh words. Let's talk." Noma walked over, feeling a bit better already. Ikenna led her into his cozy house and sat her down at a big wooden table. He brought her a plate of yummy food, some roasted yam, and a warm stew that smelled wonderful. "Eat, Noma. You look like you need some cheering up," he said with a warm smile. As Noma ate, Ikenna sat beside her. I heard what happened in the village, he began. It's not fair for them to treat you that way. I know you're honest and good. Whatever is happening with these gifts, I'm sure there's a good explanation. Noma nodded, feeling the lump in her throat grow smaller as she listened to Ikenna's kind words. Thank you, Ikenna. I really don't know who left the gifts, but I will try to find out, she said, her voice still a bit shaky. Ikenna patted her back gently. Don't worry, Noma. I'll help you figure this out. And until we do, I'll make sure no one bothers you. You're not alone in this, he promised. Noma looked at Ikenna, feeling grateful for his kindness. Thank you, Ikenna. It means a lot to me to have a friend like you, she said, her heart feeling lighter. Ikenna just smiled, his eyes twinkling. That's what friends are for, he said. Now finish up that food and don't worry. We'll solve this mystery together. Feeling safer and much happier, Noma finished her meal, the warmth from the food and Ikenna's kindness filling her up with hope. She knew that with Ikenna by her side, she could face whatever came next. Days went by in the village, and Noma kept wearing her new clothes and sharing her fruits with friends who smiled and said thank you. But at home, things were tough. Her uncle and his daughter were not kind. They kept asking Noma about her clothes and where the fruits came from. They would say mean things and make her feel small because she wouldn't tell them her secret. Every morning, Noma would wake up early, do all the chores, fetch water from the well, and help her uncle in the fields. But no matter how hard she worked, her uncle was never happy. You're hiding something, Noma, he would say. No good comes without a price. His daughter would laugh and point, making Noma feel even more alone. But sometimes, when Noma went to the market or to fetch water, the kind stranger would appear before she's back. They would leave little gifts for her, maybe a ripe mango or a beautiful flower. These small acts of kindness were like tiny lights in her dark days, reminding her that goodness still existed in the world. Noma kept all these moments close to her heart. She would sit by the river, watching the water flow, and think about the kind stranger. Why are they so nice to me, she wondered. She didn't know who they were, but their kindness was a soft pillow for her aching heart. Despite the harsh words from her uncle and his daughter, Noma chose to be like the kind stranger. She would share her fruits with little children and tell them stories under the big baobab tree. Be kind, she would say, even when others are not kind to you. The children would listen, their eyes wide, learning from Noma's gentle strength. One morning, Noma woke up to find another surprise waiting at her doorstep. This time, it was a pair of sturdy new shoes and a small stack of beautiful, colorful fabrics. The shoes were just her size, and the fabrics shimmered in the morning light, their patterns like the wings of butterflies. Noma looked around, hoping to catch a glimpse of whoever was leaving these wonderful gifts. But the street was quiet and empty. Who could it be, she wondered aloud, feeling both excited and puzzled. She picked up the gifts and brought them inside, her heart fluttering with a mix of joy and curiosity. Later that day, while Noma was at the market, she wore her new shoes. They were comfortable and made her steps feel lighter. Nice shoes, Noma, said one of the market sellers, winking at her. Noma just smiled and nodded, feeling a bit secretive. She didn't want to stir up more questions or rumors in the village. When she returned home, Noma used the colorful fabrics to make herself a new dress. As she cut and stitched, she thought about her mysterious benefactor. Why are they being so kind to me? What do they want in return? She mused. But no clear answers came to her mind. That evening, as the sun set, Noma sat outside her home, wearing the dress she had just finished. The fabric felt soft against her skin, and the dress fit perfectly. As she sat there, she saw Ikenna passing by and waved him over. "Ikenna, look at these," she said quietly, showing him the shoes and the dress. "They appeared at my doorstep this morning." Ikenna raised his eyebrows, impressed. "They are beautiful, Noma. But do you still not know who is giving you these gifts?" Noma shook her head. "No, and it's both wonderful and a bit frightening. I wish I knew why or who." Ikenna nodded thoughtfully. "Well, whoever it is, they seem to care about you a lot. Just be careful, Noma. We don't know their intentions yet." "I will," Noma promised, her voice firm. She felt a bit safer with Ikenna, knowing about the gifts. At least someone else could help her watch out for any strange happenings. As night fell, Noma went inside, her new dress rustling softly. She felt surrounded by a mystery that was as deep and soft as the night air. But inside, a warm glow of gratitude filled her heart, for the world felt a little more magical, with each unseen bond that tied her to her secret helper. As days turned into weeks, the village buzzed with talk of Noma's mysterious gifts. Every time Noma appeared at the marketplace or near the well, wearing her new shoes or the dress she made from the beautiful fabrics, whispers followed her like shadows. At the village well, where women gathered to fetch water and share the day's news, the gossip grew louder. "Have you seen Noma's latest dress?" one woman whispered as she pulled up her bucket. "Someone must be very fond of her to give her such gifts." "Yes, but who?" another woman chimed in, her eyes wide with curiosity. "She keeps saying she doesn't know who it is. But how can someone receive so many gifts and not know from whom?" A third woman, older and more stern, clucked her tongue. "It's strange, very strange. Such things don't happen without reason. There might be a secret, or maybe she's not telling us everything." Meanwhile, at the marketplace, the men shared their own theories. "I heard she got another pair of shoes," one man said, leaning over a stall selling spices. "Maybe it's someone from another village who's taken a liking to her." "Or maybe," another man added, his voice dropping to a hush, "it's someone among us, someone who's too shy to come forward." Ikenna, overhearing the conversation while buying vegetables, felt a mix of irritation and concern. He knew the rumors could be hurtful and even dangerous if they spiraled out of control. After making his purchases, he decided to find Noma and talk to her about the growing gossip. He found her at her small garden, tending to her plants. "Noma," Ikenna began, his tone serious, "the talk about your gifts has spread through the entire village. People are getting more curious, and some are even suspicious." Noma sighed, setting down her gardening tools. "I know, Ikenna. I hear the whispers. It's getting harder to ignore. I wish I knew who is doing this, so I could explain it to everyone." Ikenna nodded. "Just be careful, Noma. Gossip can turn friends into foes. If there's anything you can do to find out who your benefactor is, now might be the time to try. Otherwise, this talk might lead to trouble." Noma looked around her lush garden, her haven of peace amidst the swirl of rumors. "I'll try, Ikenna. Maybe there's a way to discover who it is without asking directly. I'll think of something." As Ikenna left, he looked back at Noma, who was gazing thoughtfully at her flowers. He hoped she would find a way to solve the mystery soon, for the sake of her peace and reputation in the village. Meanwhile, the gossip at the well and the marketplace spun on, weaving a complicated web around the simple life Noma wished to lead. One evening, As the sun dipped below the horizon and painted the sky in shades of orange and pink, Noma was preparing dinner when she heard a firm knock on her door. Her heart skipped a beat as she opened it to find her uncle standing there, his face stern and his brows furrowed with concern. "Noma," her uncle began without waiting to be invited in, stepping into her small home. His voice was heavy with worry and disapproval. "This talk of mysterious gifts has reached my ears too often. It's time you tell me what's going on. Who is giving you these gifts?" Noma felt a chill of fear. She knew her uncle cared for her, but his temper was quick and his old-fashioned beliefs firm. "Uncle, I truly don't know who it is," she replied earnestly, her hands nervously twisting the hem of her new dress. "They leave them at my doorstep without a name or note." Her uncle's eyes narrowed as he scanned the room, noticing the new items that had not been there on his last visit. "You expect me to believe that someone, a stranger perhaps, is showering you with gifts, and you have no idea who they might be?" "People are talking, Noma. They are saying things that could tarnish your reputation." The weight of his words hung heavily in the air. Noma knew the villagers respected her uncle, and his opinion could sway their judgment about her. "I understand, uncle," she said, her voice small, "but I speak the truth. I have not sought these gifts. I have done nothing wrong." Her uncle paced the floor, his hands behind his back, deep in thought. Finally, he stopped and faced her. "Noma, you are like a daughter to me since your parents passed. I do not want to see you harmed by idle gossip or ill intentions. If you cannot find this person and put an end to these rumors, I will have to take matters into my own hands." Noma felt panic rise within her. "Please, uncle, give me a little more time. I will try to find out who it is. I will ask around discreetly," she pleaded, hoping to ease his concerns and gain control of the situation. Her uncle sighed, the lines of his face softening slightly. "Very well, Noma. You have until the end of the month. If by then you haven't discovered who is behind this, I will speak to the village elders. I will tell them you stole them, or perhaps gave out your body in exchange for these shiny gifts. We must protect our family's name. You cannot come from nowhere and tarnish my reputation as the next king of our village." With that, her uncle left, leaving Noma alone with her thoughts and fears. She knew she had to act quickly. The mystery of her benefactor, once a source of joy, had become a looming threat to her place within the community. As she resumed her dinner preparations, her mind raced with possibilities. She needed a plan, and she needed it soon. Later that week, Ikenna invited Noma to his house for an urgent discussion. When Noma arrived, she found not only Ikenna, but also two of his trusted friends gathered around a small table. The room was filled with a serious atmosphere, quite different from the usual warmth Ikenna's home offered. "Ikenna, what's going on?" Noma asked, her voice tinged with worry. Ikenna gave her a reassuring smile. "Don't worry, Noma. We're here to help you. We've been thinking about how to find out who your secret benefactor is, especially now with the pressure from your uncle." One of Ikenna's friends, a clever young man named Chike, chimed in. "We need a plan that helps us catch the person in the act without causing you more trouble or gossip." The other friend, Amma, who was known for her wisdom in the village, nodded in agreement. "We thought about setting a watch around your house during the times when the gifts usually appear. If we're discreet, we can observe who comes by without drawing attention." Noma felt a mix of relief and apprehension. "But won't that seem like we're spying? What if it only leads to more rumors?" Ikenna responded thoughtfully. "We'll be very careful, Noma. Only Chike, Amma, and I will know about the watch. We'll take turns, and we'll stay hidden. Our goal is to protect your reputation, not risk it further. Chike pulled out a small map of the village and pointed to strategic spots around Noma's house. We can cover these areas. I'll watch from the east side where the trees are thick. Ama can stay back near the west path, and Ikenna can be on the main road since he's less likely to raise suspicion. Ama added, we'll communicate using small signals. If any one of us sees something, we'll have a subtle way to alert the others without making a scene. Noma listened, her heart swelling with gratitude for the support her friends offered. Thank you all so much. I don't know how I could manage this without your help. However, with all these thanks, Noma couldn't shake off the feelings that Ikenna could have something to do with the gift. Why is he too concerned, she thought. But Ikenna, with an innocent look, reached over and gently squeezed her hand. You're not alone in this, Noma. We're with you every step of the way. Let's start tonight. The sooner we find out, the better. And that wraps up part 1 of this intriguing tale. What do you think, dear viewers? Could Ikenna, with his kindness and concern, be the mysterious benefactor leaving gifts for Noma? Or is there a darker plot at play, perhaps involving Noma's uncle, who seeks to tarnish her reputation to bolster his own standing as a future king by setting her up as a thief? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss out on uncovering the true story behind these mysterious gifts in part 2 of our tale. Stay tuned.